Before we begin, a quick note. This podcast is a space for storytelling, shared experiences, and community. The views shared are personal and not medical, legal, or professional advice. If you're navigating a situation that requires professional support, please seek guidance from a qualified expert. Take what resonates, leave what doesn't, and most importantly, take care of yourself. Welcome to Who Cares About Me? This podcast exists to create space for caregivers to tell their stories, the good, the hard, and the complicated. There's no judgment here, no right way to do this. Just real experiences, reflection, and connection. Each episode features a small group of caregivers sharing what this role has looked like for them. Because caregiving is not one size fits all. If you've ever found yourself caring for a parent or grandparent and quietly wondering, who's taking care of me? Who cares about me? You're in the right place. This is Who Cares About Me, a podcast created to center the voices of parental caregivers. Today's episode is for the partners who stepped in to be an in-law caregiver. The ones who didn't grow up calling this person mom or dad, but found themselves showing up anyway, scheduling appointments, managing medications, sitting in waiting rooms, holding things together at home, and holding space for the person they love. This is about the quiet kind of caregiving, the kind that often isn't named, isn't expected, and isn't always acknowledged. The kind that happens alongside full-time jobs, relationships, and lives that were already full. For many partners, caregiving doesn't start with a decision, it starts with love. And then slowly, almost without noticing, love turns into responsibility, and responsibility turns into weight. And if you've ever wondered where you fit in, if you're allowed to feel tired, resentful, scared, or overwhelmed as an in-law caregiver, this space is for you. There's no hierarchy of care here, no comparing who does more or who sacrifices more, just an honest conversation about what it means when partners carry the load, often quietly, often alone. I'm your host, Jackee de Lagarde, a wife, mother, executive in the fashion industry, and primary caregiver to my 82-year-old mom who's living with PSP, a rare degenerative disease. Like many caregivers, I didn't step into this role intentionally, it found me. This podcast exists for the people who show up anyway, the ones who are doing their best without a roadmap, often without recognition, and sometimes without support. This is Who Cares About Me, and today we're talking about the partners who do. Welcome, everyone. I'm so happy you're joining us today. Today, I'm joined by my husband and partner for over 20 years, Clarence. Hi, Clarence.
Hello.
Clarence, an only child, went through a caregiving journey with his mom, Esther. He spent the latter half of his 20s helping his dad with her care until his dad passed unexpectedly in 2005. In 2007, he moved to San Francisco with me, but shortly after our move, Esther passed in 2008. My father was ill with myelofibrosis, and I was asked to move back home to New York to help my mom with his care in 2010. Clarence offered so much support to my family during this time until my dad passed in 2012. Fast forward to 2021, he resumed yet again another caregiver role when my mother, Violet, was diagnosed with PSP. Since then, he has been a rock for me and my family when it comes to her care. Thank you so much for sharing your story, my love.
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
Well, let's get started. Why don't you share with the audience a little bit about your family background, maybe a little bit about our love story, and where you are today?
Sure. So, family background. My mom is from Brooklyn, born and raised. So is my grandmother. So I am third generation Brooklynite. My father is born and raised in Ellerby, North Carolina. He moved up to New York after my grandmother moved up to New York to relocate. Growing up in Brooklyn has been a great experience for me. I love being from New York because I was just around so many different types of people, so many different types of experiences, and having a father from the South going down in the summers, experiencing that side of life from a city life I felt like I saw a world from a different perspective, so that was, like, a great experience. Fast forward a little bit to our story, how we met. I worked with a mutual friend of ours, and he said he knew a girl that would be perfect for me, and I was like, "Okay, let me see a picture first." But when I saw that picture, that was it after that. I remember our first date. I remember the date of our first date. I still have pictures from that first date. And ever since then, we've been together ever since. It's been what, 21 years already? And it seems like a full lifetime of experiences and loves, ups and downs, and everything in between. And it's been great so far. Wouldn't have changed anything. This has been the experience of a lifetime. And so far, so good, right?
Yeah. And then fast forward to today, what are you up to today?
All right. So today, I am full-time stay-at-home dad for our son, Jack, which, as he's getting older, doesn't need me as much anymore. I'm here for Violet, since she's home 24 hours a day. Somebody needs to be here for her to let caregivers in, make sure somebody's there for her. She needs one of us. Since you're working full-time, my job as caregiver went to the forefront, especially after the pandemic. And it's been that way for the past, what, 5, 6 years now?
Yeah. Yep.
Now I'm trying to slowly get back into the work environment, maybe try and find something part-time, just trying to get back into the swing of things. But right now, I am a full-time stay-at-home dad, caregiver, making sure the house runs smoothly, everything that needs to be done at home, I basically try my best to take care of.
And you do a great job, babe.
Well, thank you.
Well, let's start at the beginning. Can you take us back to when caregiving first entered your life, and what was that like for you as a young 20-year-old?
It wasn't hard, it wasn't easy, it was just a way of life. My mother needed help, and periodically during my life, she needed help from me and my dad in terms of getting her to different doctor's appointments when she was, early on in her illness. She was diabetic, and then she had kidney failure, so going to dialysis appointments 3 days a week, was a daunting process after a while where my dad was retired, but he also had little side hustles and things to do. And for a while, I was living in North Carolina in most of my 20s, but it was getting kind of hard calling home and hearing that, "Oh, your mom's in the hospital." I'm like, I mean, she was in the hospital so much that sometimes my dad wouldn't call me just so that
Mhm.
he wouldn't worry me. And I'll call
Right.
home and see what's going on, and she'll be in the hospital. I'm like, okay. But just little minor things. She'll be in the hospital for her sugar was too high or something they wouldn't tell me happened, and she'll be home in the next couple of days. But she was always in and out of hospitals all the time, just
Mhm.
for a couple of days and coming home. So after a while, she was really going down, not a lot, but like my dad needed some help and I wasn't doing great in North Carolina. So it was just a perfect fit for me to come home and help out and try to kind of like reinvent myself back in New York. So
Yeah.
coming back home was like the best bet for me. And to have an
Yeah.
extra body at home with my mom and help my dad was like, it helped the family out a lot.
Yeah. I mean, we have similar stories in which we moved back home to take on this support role. Were you ready to leave North Carolina to take on this responsibility, or were you hesitant to make the move?
I wasn't hesitant to make the move. I was ready to get out of North Carolina. I think, it was a couple of things. It was just like a perfect storm of need and want at the same time.
Mhm.
Like, North Carolina just wasn't meshing for me the way I wanted to after a while, especially I was getting older in life. I wanted different things. And where I was living, I just couldn't accomplish that where I was living at.
Mhm.
And I knew I could do it back home. Most of my friends were back home. And then just, the fact that my mom was always in the hospital sick and I'm always thinking about her and worrying about what's going on. It was just like, let me just go home.
Yeah.
Just rethink what I want to do in life and like start over and then be close to the family.
Yeah.
So it wasn't that I was ready to come home. I was ready to help out because when I
Mhm.
came home for vacations, I helped out. So it
Yeah.
wasn't like, okay, this is something new for me. It was just something like I was doing full time now instead of like, every couple of like months when I came home to visit.
Mhm. Mhm. So how did you and your dad break up responsibilities? Like, what was your role in her care and what was your dad's role in her care? Because you were also working
Yeah,
full
so with
time.
my
So, like, how did you balance that?
well, my dad was the primary caregiver.
Mhm.
He responsible for most of everything that went on with her. I was auxiliary. So like, she needed to be taken to dialysis and picked up. I was there for that. I was there to, make sure that I could fill her syringe with her insulin if she couldn't do it. If she needed some meals, I can go get something for her or prepare it when she was home, things of that nature. My dad took her to a lot of doctor's appointments. I took her to some when he was alive, but he took her to most. I was there for mostly like, dialysis stuff. Like, it was 3 days a week. And
Okay.
when it's on a steady schedule, sometimes, your schedule interferes with her schedule and her schedule comes first. So we need somebody
Right.
to like plug in those holes. And I was
Mhm.
definitely there for that.
Yeah.
'Cause,
Yeah.
with dialysis, you have to go no matter what. There's no like, oh, I'm gonna take a day off today. You have to go, whether
Right.
regardless. So that was also a challenging thing. Just when we went away, we had to find a place for her to do dialysis. I mean, if we couldn't find a place, she wasn't going.
Right.
It was just one of those
How
things.
often was she going?
3 days a week.
Got it. Okay.
I think it was Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and then we had
Mhm.
weekends off, and then straight back on Monday.
Got it.
If and she that
And
went on for years.
how long was she on dialysis?
Imma say over 9 or 10 years, and
Wow.
that's way longer than you're supposed to be on dialysis. I wanna say maybe even longer than that, but Imma say maybe 9 or 10 years.
So, your dad, Clarence Sr., passed unexpectedly in 2005. How did that change things, especially your responsibilities with your mom at that time?
It was a lot, like, my dad was, he wasn't in the best of health, but he wasn't in the worst of health. He went to the doctor, he tried to stay on top of things. It was one of the things where he had an episode at home and died right there, and, thank God I was home that night to be there. I still think about that night if I was gonna stay at your house that night instead of me going home.
Yeah.
And what if I wasn't home and he died right there? Because I just, my mom at that time, her sight was not that well. She really couldn't see a lot. She just heard. She heard something was going on when she called out to
Yeah.
me. And I can't imagine her dealing with that and me not being home. So it was a grace of God I was home for that day when it happened. But to answer the question, I mean, his death came out of nowhere, so my responsibilities went from being maybe 20% to 100% overnight, and
Mhm.
I was a relatively young man. I was only 32 at the time. I was still trying to figure out what I wanted to do. I think at the time we had only been dating not less than probably like 6 months,
Right.
and I was in the process of moving out myself, and then all of a sudden that got snatched away, and I was home full time because somebody needed to be there with my mom, and then trying to figure out a work schedule now because I was working full time and now I had to be home. It was just a lot going on all at one time. I had to mourn my dad and be the man of the house all at one time, all out the blue. It wasn't like, oh, your dad's sick. Let's prepare for this. It was just like, okay, one day you're fine. Next day, okay, it's on you. And
Right,
I
and, like, no
was,
one's handing you a manual like, "Okay, here you go. This
oh,
is your
trust
next thing to
me.
do."
And then, I was going through my own grieving. I was feeling bad for my mom. She lost her husband. Then I'm thinking about what are we going to do with this house? What I didn't know at that time, I didn't know anything about anything. I didn't know anything about mortgages or how to take care of. I mean, I was woefully unprepared for what was to happen.
Right,
Thank God at the time my dad's brother was there and he helped out a lot in terms of guiding us and helping us with like paperwork and things that way because at that time I had no idea what was going on. And
yeah.
parents of that era, they never talk to their kids about, hey, this was the paper.
Nope.
My dad gave me a quick 5-minute talk, funny, maybe a month and a half before he passed about this is what may or may not happen. I have an insurance policy. And it was like a
Uh-huh.
quick 5 minutes. He didn't tell me anything else. And that was it. And then a month later, he passed away.
Wow.
And it was just a big learning curve,
Yeah.
a big learning curve.
So fast forward to 2007. Your mom is still very sick, and you decided to move to San Francisco with me. And I know that you really battled with that decision at the beginning and wanted to share with the audience, did you feel any guilt about moving away, and how did you manage through that?
Oh, I felt a lot of guilt. I was almost to the point where I wasn't going to come. I was really, grappling with the decision of leaving because you moved in April and then I moved in June. And I mean, one of the reasons I moved was, I missed you and want to be with you. And two, I got a job offer out there as well. So that kind of like put a little bit, gas in the fire for me to come out there. But, just leaving my mom. And luckily, her brother came in after a while to help with her care, to help me out with her care, because I just couldn't do it by myself. He moved in and he took the lion's share of the responsibility. And, by that time, I was what, 34? And I was just, starting out, like trying to get my life together. My mom was like, listen, you go live your life. Don't worry about me. But I was torn. I was like, "How can I leave you?" And having this conversation with her, she's in the hospital. As I'm having this conversation with her, I said, "How can I leave you? You're in the hospital right now."
Right,
And
right.
she's like, "No, do it."
Mhm.
And my uncle was there. He was like, "I got you, nephew. Don't worry about it. I'll take care of everything." I mean, that right
Mhm.
there, if I didn't have him staying there, I wouldn't have left.
Yeah.
I would have stayed in New York. So
Yeah.
that kinda helped out a lot. But even when I left, you were there, like, the first few months, I was
I
a
know you were
wreck.
miserable.
I was a wreck. Like, I felt like I betrayed my mom. I felt and then I had my own issues with my other uncle who I don't speak to anymore, and, therapy and going through other emotions are still like, I was only by the time I moved in, I was like a year and then some change after my dad passed and trying to find like what kind of person I am. And it was just, yeah, it was a lot. It was a lot going on back then. I mean, I came through another side thanks to you and, a lot of like therapy and really self reflection and a lot of growth, especially, as you get older, you see life in perspective that you don't see when you're a younger person. And that's why I tried to kind of pour that into our son as well. Like, I want him to be prepared
Right.
in terms of, I try to share stuff with Jack that my dad didn't share with me for whatever reason he didn't share. So I'm trying to be a little bit more closer with him, share more stuff about my life, what's going on with me, maybe medically a little bit more, because our parents didn't tell us anything until it was too late, and then what do you do then?
Exactly. I know. I think we've both learned a lot about what we need to share, how we need to be prepared,
Yeah.
all the things. Uh,
Listen, I don't tell Jack everything, but I tell him. I don't want him to be like, "Oh, nobody told me, and Daddy's sick now," or like, "No, this is what's going on with Dad." I kind of sugarcoat a little bit because he's only 12, 13. He's
yeah.
13 going on 40. But, he can handle it. And if they can get him in that process of being part of his family, not just a kid in his family, like he is part of this unit and he needs to
Yeah.
know and be informed. And so
I
I
know.
try to keep him informed as best way I can for his
Yeah.
age range.
So, your mom passed in 2008 when we were still in San Francisco. How were you feeling during that time?
It was, it it was I don't know, I felt like when it happened, I was floating. I felt untethered.
Mhm.
It was one of those things where I was part of a unit of 3 all my life, and then I was a part of a unit of 2, and then I was a grown man, and I lived on my own, but my mom was still there, and now it was just me. I remember I had flew in from San Francisco to New York, and I went straight to the hospital 'cause my uncle told me to come. She's in hospice and she's gonna have a lot longer to last. I was like, okay, let me come down. I flew in, went to the hospital, went and sat with her for a while and saw her in that state, and that really like shook me. I sat with her for a couple of hours and then I just had to like get up and leave and come home for a little while. And I was gonna go back to the hospital afterwards. So I came home and I sat in the house and my uncle who was living there, he wasn't home. He had went to the hospital after me. And I remember my phone rang, he called me and he told me that she had passed within the hour or so that I had left the hospital. Like almost she
Mhm.
was I kind of feel like she was waiting for me to come, even though she was unresponsive. She was she was all tubes. She couldn't speak and she wasn't even, I don't think, awake, but I held her hand, I spoke to her. So when it happened, it just felt weird to be in that house and knowing that both my parents were gone and it was just me now, like
Yeah.
last man standing in this house that we
Mhm.
all three of us walked in this house when I was 8 years old. Now I'm
Mhm.
35 and I'm here alone without them.
Yeah.
No, it was shocking. Even though
Yeah.
I knew her death was coming, it was still a blow.
Of course. Of course.
I mean a blow like I expected it, and it wasn't a blow like, "Oh my god, my mom's dead." It was like, "Wow, it happened. She's gone."
Right.
Like, how do I process this? What's next steps for me? I'm glad that she's not suffering anymore.
Sure.
But then I'm like, "Okay, what's life like for me next?" Not in terms of, like, me and you, but, like, as Clarence. I've always been Clarence and Esther and Clarence Senior. Now I'm
Right.
just Clarence Junior. I've never been
Right.
just Clarence Junior before. Like, what's that like?
Sure.
So, it took me a while to get used to that, but, I'm fine now.
Yeah. But I mean, look, took many years to get through that and make
Yeah.
understand, what's your purpose and what does family mean to you now because, you're an only child and, most of your family is on the older side. Um so it takes a while to process and figure out, okay, what's next?
Yeah.
Um but, I feel like we were there to support each other as much as possible and I think, you did your best with what you had. Well, let's fast forward to 2010. We were living the good life in San Francisco, both working, great jobs, enjoying life. And then we decided, okay, we have to move back. Vi needs help. Dad's sick. So we packed up, moved back to New York to help my mom with
Mhm.
my dad. How did you feel about leaving San Francisco?
Well, I love San Francisco. It was just like, the city that I dreamed about living in, like to walk the streets. It was, if I, oh my God, I've got that TV show and the girl walks around the street and throws her beret up in the air. Like, I'm gonna make it after all. It was like, I love San Francisco. I mean, leaving San Francisco was bittersweet. Obviously I didn't want to leave. I mean, hindsight now, I'm glad we did because San Francisco's not the same place we left. But,
Yes, absolutely.
like, we dodged that bullet.
Yeah.
But, yeah, it was a needed move. Like, you had to be near your dad, and I understood that. Obviously, coming from the history I came from, I knew we had to come home and be near your family.
Yeah,
So it wasn't that hard decision to do. It was just like, oh, do we have to? Like, okay, let's do it.
I know.
It was like it
It was hard. It
was
was hard
hard.
because we were so happy, um, but also very complicated because now we've gotta find jobs. Now it's
Yeah.
not just, "Okay, I can just move to another city and pick right back up." I've gotta interview, we've gotta find an apartment, it was a lot.
Yeah,
It was a
yeah,
big
and,
move.
I mean, luckily, moving back to where your parents lived was a safe city for you to continue your career. I mean, if your parents lived in Walla Walla, Washington, it could have been a different
Right,
conversation, like,
right,
"Okay, what do we do
right.
next?" So, like, being a place where, your career can still continue and we have family and friends. I mean, that was a big help in terms of making that leap. But to your point, like, you still had to pick up and move across the country, finding jobs, finding a new apartment. And, we did it, obviously, but it was a grown up choice you had to make, and we did
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. Well, with Skip, you stepped in quite a bit to help out with him and the
Mm.
caregiving. Um, do you mind sharing with our listeners the types of tasks you would help out with when it came to him? I mean, you and my dad had a really special relationship,
Well, I
and,
loved your dad.
you so many fun stories, but let's talk about some of the things you helped out with, and then maybe you can share a couple fun stories of you and Skip.
Sure. It wasn't too much. Like, your mom worked full time, so sometimes he needed help going to doctor's appointments. So I was happy to go out to Long Island and pick him up and take him to the doctor's appointments. Me and him, we got along fine. We had great conversation in the car. He treated me like I was one of his. So it wasn't that hard of a task to do. If he needed me to run an errand for him, or he was quick to pick the phone up to ask me for Apple phone advice all the time. I was his genius bar, all the time, which is I am for, like, most of your family now, which is totally fine. But it was just things of that nature. Anything I can do to pitch in to help. If your brothers weren't there, I was like the third brother to come in to, like, pitch in
Yeah.
and help if I could. So, like I said, I was happy to do it. Your dad was quite the character, so it was always interesting to be around him and see what he will say next. Because
I know you were in some interesting doctor's appointments where he would doctors would ask him a question and he'd answer it and you'd be like, "What?"
Yeah, because your dad was a smoker, so he smoked a lot, and so even being sick, he was still smoke a cigarette. And so I knew he smoked, and I remember picking him up at the apartment, and he was smoking a cigarette then. And on the way there, I believe he smoked a cigarette in the car on the way to the appointment. So once we got there, and I don't know why I did, but I walked into the examination room with your dad because at that point I didn't know what to do, and it was just a weird situation. It was like, do I wait outside? Do I wait inside? So he didn't mind me going inside the room with him. So when he went in, doctor asked him a question. Hey, Skip. Hey, how you doing? So are you smoking? Oh, no, no, no. I'm smoking once or twice. So I'm like, I looked at him like, are you kidding me? You were just smoking a second ago. You are reeking of it right now. But I didn't blow his spot up. I kept quiet. I looked the other way. It wasn't my place. I mean, maybe I should have said something, but at that time I had kept my mouth closed. So like, let me just be here to be helpful. I'm not here to blow up his spot and tell a doctor, yes, he's smoking like a pack a day almost. Like, but look, your dad was your dad. He's gonna do it regardless. He was gonna smoke and
Yeah.
lie and do what he had to do. And
My god.
and it didn't
I
help that the
mean,
doctors telling him his lungs were clear. I'm like, how can his lungs be clear? He's
I
smoking like a chimney. He's
it's
like chimney sweep.
wild. It's wild. We would get those results and we'd be like, "That can't be." I mean,
How do you
he's
not have the
smoking.
black lung? How do you not? Come on. How you not coughing every chance you get? He
Oh
did
my
cough a lot, but he didn't. I mean, it was wild. It was
I mean,
wild.
he was smoking up until the very end,
I
and,
know.
one of the last times he went into the hospital was because he was smoking outside, and he can't not kill a bug, and tried
Mm.
to kill some bug on the patio,
Oh, I
and
remember.
ended up falling in a bush or something, like, just, you know
But, the fact that your mom and dad lived off of a golf course and he will be out there collecting golf balls and
Yeah.
smoking cigarettes in the back, I'm like, "You're living your best life, Skip de Lagarde, living your best life."
Oh my gosh. Well, sadly, Skip died in 2012,
Yeah,
and after that, you and I decided, okay, I think it's time to start a family. And a year later, we had our little Jack.
I know. Not so
Um,
little anymore.
and that's a little anymore. But what was great about that time was, in addition to that, we talked to my mom about what she wanted to do because she was retiring. And she decided to move in with us to help take care of Jack. So we're relatively new family and trying to build this new life with Jack. what was it like having Vi around in our lives for you?
If I don't I don't know how to answer that. It wasn't bad. It was different. Like, me and your mom got along
I know you guys are
great. So,
thick as
so it
thieves,
wasn't
man.
wasn't like, "Oh god, my mother-in-law is here." Like, no, it was fine. Like, we got along fine. But, it was certain things I had to, like, just watch out for, especially living in a two-bedroom apartment when we first lived together. So, like, things I watch on TV, I had to, like, make sure, like, she could be alright me watching something like that, like, on television or, things like that nature, like, stuff like that, but she can give 2 craps, she
Walk around
her
in your
focus
underwear.
yeah, exactly, I have to make sure, I had a robe on or, things like that, but she was so focused on Jack, she can care less what I was doing. And after a while, it just became, like, normal for her to be around, like,
Yeah.
everything happens for a reason, and her coming
Mhm.
to stay with us
Yeah.
was a blessing. Imagine her not being with us with Jack. I
I know.
remember
I
just
can't.
having because she didn't live with us the first week Jack was born, so it was just
No.
us, and I remember not getting any sleep. I remember thinking like, "Are these people insane? You gave me a baby to take home? Do you not know who I am?" I remember white
I know we
knuckling it.
had we had Jack, and then she was like, "Alright, I'll see you in a week." We were like, "What?"
I'm like, "What? Wait, huh? Where's the instructions?" Like, well I remember, like, driving home, like, I have a human baby in the car. I'm driving 25 miles an hour on the GW. Oh my
Oh my
gosh.
gosh.
And now I'm like, "Okay, hold on to your seats, kid. We're going 80 miles an hour
Yeah.
on the" I'm like, "Alright, dad, let's go." You know?
So, you and Vi have such an amazing relationship. Why do you think you guys just hit it off? What do you think it is about you and Vi and just the love for each other? Where do you think that came from?
I thought about this a while ago, not to the extent of that question, but, like, why me and Violet get along so well. I think I grew up with a lot of older women as a kid, like a lot of aunts and aunts and
Mhm.
grandmothers and whatever.
Mhm.
So I was used to being around women. This how does this come out wrong? Women of that generation, women
Yeah.
who grew up, of their mom's age. So I knew how to relate to them, how to talk to them. I knew what they thought. I knew what they were about. So talking to your mom was like talking to an aunt, or like,
Yeah.
and she didn't treat me like a child. She treated me like an adult. She treated me like her son, but her adult son. So it was
Yeah.
easy to talk to her. It wasn't like, yes, ma'am. Even though I was respectful, but I can basically be myself and have a conversation with her while trying to be extra polite. I can throw a cuss word in there once in a while and, shoot the shit with her and she can shoot the shit with me. And it was great. It was like having a second mom when I had a first mom already, like
Yeah.
Violet is like a mom to me. She treats me like her son and she would do, I know it, she would do and have done a lot of things for me because of that.
Yeah.
And I never forget that. I will never ever. That's why I do what I do for her. 'Cause I know what she has done for me and for us over the years. Like I will
Yeah.
do anything for her.
Yeah. She was always the cool mom on the block. Like, every one of our friends and neighbors always wanted to come over because 'cause she'd feed them. She kinda looked the other way sometimes.
She's a cool mom
Um,
on our block now.
yeah,
Like
true.
everybody like loved Violet when she was up and about. Like she was the mom everybody knew on the block. Came to
Yeah,
visit
everybody
her. Like
bringing over
neighbors come.
bourbon and whiskey and
We didn't name. We owned the house, but they came to see her. Like our name's on the title, chief. I'm like, did you come to see her? Like, all right, she's in there. Like I'm your neighbor.
oh my gosh.
But, it's
Well,
all good.
yeah. So, you know, we were so lucky to have her because she helped raise Jack and was basically like a live-in nanny for us. I mean, we were able
Yeah.
to go on vacations, we were able to go to date night. She used to take Jack to school when he was little,
Listen, we had it
and
good.
we really had it good. But, we knew something was off, and, when she got diagnosed in 2021, finally, we had already known something was going on, and we had
Yeah.
to start helping her with tasks around the house and had to pivot from a childcare perspective. We decided, okay, we're not going to hire a nanny because Vi can't do things. We're going to have you be a stay-at-home dad. When we decided to do that, how did that make you feel to sacrifice your career and your dreams because you wanted to be in media production? What did that feel like for you to make that sacrifice for our family?
It wasn't that hard of a decision. I mean, I thought about it and it was something I really had to think about, but I know it needed to be done. It was just a perfect storm of situations. Your mom, was really helping out, but now she couldn't. So somebody needs to step into that role in terms of what her responsibilities to his family and ours to her now as well. Like she needed us in turn in her care. And, at that time, I had just finished a 3-month contract with a company. Now it was over, so I was looking for a new gig. So it was just like, okay, so since I'm not working now, I can be home and be with Jack and help him with school. Because at that time, he was only in 2nd grade.
Right.
And, he was being homeschooled with, that Zoom chat and all that stuff. So somebody need to be there to help him with that. Um, so that just kind of worked out. So it wasn't that hard a decision. I know it needed to be done, and I was happy to do it because it was something that I knew I could do. One thing with me, things are hard for me to do when I feel like I can't do it. But if it's something within my wheelhouse to do, no matter how hard it is, I'll do it. Like, I don't mind getting my hands dirty. If I'm capable and I have the knowledge and the skill, point me in the right direction, I'll do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, I mean, listen, I have been helping, taking care of people for I don't know how long. So helping my family, helping out wasn't that hard a decision to make.
Yeah.
And it worked out. Like, look at Jack. He's flourishing in school right now. It was one of the best things that happened. Thank God for that whiteboard and teaching him how to do math.
Yeah. I know, I think for some people, COVID and the pandemic was really tough on their kids, and for us, Jack really flourished and learned so much from you and just life lessons, and I think it actually helped him, um, during that
I
time.
I just see so much of myself in Jack in terms of how he's growing up. He's an only child living with 2 parents. Um, and I see a lot of similarity, and I try to plug up the holes that I thought I had growing up. Like, I wish I had, parents who were able to help me more with school, because I'm pretty sure I suffered with some form of dyslexia where school wasn't that easy for me. So I wanted to make sure that the things that stymied me weren't going to stymie Jack.
Yeah,
So now that I know how to overcome them, I was able to help him. I just wanted to make sure he had a step in the right direction. So teaching
yeah,
him old school math the way we did it helped him
mhm,
with this newfangled math now because he can see outside of how they're teaching him and seeing the solution on the other end. So now, like,
yeah,
it's great. So, like, things like that, this me being home helped me be closer to our son in a way that I never thought I could. And I'm grateful for. I'm grateful for this time to be home with him and to help guide his life in those 4, 5, 6 years that I was home with him.
yeah. So when we made the decision for you to stay home, what surprised you most about stepping back into this caregiving role with Vi? I mean, what what does the day-to-day look like for you?
Well, it changes over time. Like right now, I make sure I prepare all her meals. I'm here to let all the caregivers in, which, is basically every day. Um, when they're gone, I'm a presence where she's not home by herself if she may need anything. And her needing something is her like kind of yelling out and maybe she's uncomfortable in her chair or something like that.
Mhm.
Um, But just making sure I'm a presence in the home. Like I said, meals are definitely like a high priority in terms of what I do for her, making sure she's fed every day. She only eats basically twice a day, lunch, I mean, breakfast and dinner. But, Now it's a process of like find the right texture foods for her and making sure that, it's on time and God forbid, outside 6:37, you're gonna hear like something.
She knows when it's
So,
time to eat dinner.
and I kinda take that a little seriously, like, okay, I watch the clock and it's like, let me get her meal together and make sure she has what she needs and wants. Um but before that, it changed. It was different when she was a little bit more vocal or wasn't as dependent on other people. My responsibilities were different for her. She would call out when she was more uncomfortable in her chair or help her adjust her a lot because she couldn't do it herself or things where she's in her room all the time. So issues with like electronics, her television, that's like her roommate right now. So
Right.
God forbid something wrong with that television, I'm there to help, help her with that. And, I'm just there to assist the best way I can outside what the caregivers do for her medically.
Yeah. One of the other things is, thank God you're a pretty strong individual. So bringing her downstairs in her chair.
Oh yeah, that's
Before the chair, we used to have to bring her upstairs and hold her up, and all the time she would fall, having that muscle to help pick her up. All those little things that, as I think back on the early years of this, thank God you were around because some of those things I couldn't do by myself. I mean, how many times did I fall on the floor with her and you'd
I
have to
know.
come and pick us up?
I
So
know.
it's amazing how much you have supported this family, um, physically, mentally, emotionally. I mean, it really just so blessed that you're a part of it. Um,
But it's also a way for me to what's the right way to put it? Like I'm more hands-on with your mom than I was with my mom in terms of the length of care and what I do for her. So it's almost like I'm making up for all the stuff I wish I could have done more for my mother with your mother. And sometimes it kind of gets to me, like I feel a little guilty about it. But then I think my mom wasn't that type of woman to be like jealous or whatever. She will be happy that I'm helping somebody else with their care. And that's how I
mhm.
see it. I won't feel as guilty, like, I don't feel like, oh, my mom, I feel like I'm betraying her, helping this woman and help her. She would be like, I'm glad you're helping somebody else, Clarence. I'm glad you're being a good person. And that's how I like to see things. And Violet is such a deserving person to help. It makes it easy. Like me, we smile and laugh. Even now when she can't communicate, we still smile and I can still make her
You
laugh
get
a
the
little bit.
biggest smile out of anybody. It's wild. I'll be in there with her and she's, giving me a frown and moaning. As soon as you walk in, everything changes. She's so happy to see you.
Well,
It's really it's very touching, but also, "Huh?
I know, right?
What am I, chopped liver? What's going on?"
Hey, you know what? Like me and her, like we had a couple of drinks and we used to chit chat for a little while.
Oh my
We
god. I
bonded over
remember you
bourbon
guys
over the
used to buy
years.
each other the same cards for Christmas, and it was
Yep.
just hilarious. Oh my gosh. Well,
Good times.
yeah, we had a lot of good times. Well, I wanna take this time to reflect on some of the things that Clarence shared before we break, and clearly there's something really powerful about the things you shared because partners, whether that's a husband, a wife, a life partner, they don't step into caregiving the same way we do as daughters or sons. And there's also no built in expectation. I mean, there's no lifelong identity tied to it. And yet you showed up again and again and again, not because you had to, but because you chose to. And I think what often gets missed is that the weight and the sacrifice, although you know, you're saying you did it out of love, it's still there. And it's not just always to be seen and recognized. Um, it's really just about stepping in because you do care and love for someone. So I appreciate that, of course.
Oh, well,
Well, let's take a break and we'll be right back. Okay, welcome back. So, we're going to talk a little bit about challenges in coping. And one of the things I wanted to ask you about is if you felt a burden with this role, or at this point, have you made peace with this sacrifice that you've made?
Maybe 90-10. 90, I made peace with it. 10, the whole burden part, if that's a good analogy. Just trying to get back into life after a long period of time is a little hard because of a lot of things. You have a big gap in your work history. You are a certain age, even though people don't know how old you are, but they can tell by your resume, what kind, we can run about like how old a person you may be. So just hard trying to lock down interviews and things of that nature and just trying to get back into the swing of things is a little bit hard after a long break, but that break was a necessary break, so I don't really regret it. I just wish it would be easier to get back into the swing of things, but
Yeah,
if that's my only burden and the payoff is helping my family, I'll take it every time.
yeah. Okay. On a scale of 1 to 10, how hands on are you in the daily physical and mental care of Vi right now?
1 to 10, hands on, maybe 6 or
Yeah,
7. I would
yeah,
think about that, right?
yeah. Because, I mean, we have 2 amazing caregivers that really love and care for her, but there are times where, like, Sundays is our day. So, that's the day with the most physical and mental care that we do,
Yeah,
and there are times where we need a little extra muscle or we need to get her comfortable. She may be having a bad day and we're trying to, soothe her. So I guess it does vary by day and also varies by how she's feeling.
yeah. Some days she wakes up, she's in a good mood, some days she's in the right state. I mean, she's not screaming, but she's not happy that day. So it's different ways you gotta approach the day with her, and hopefully she'll have a good day. She can't verbally say what's really going on with her, but she can react, and you can definitely tell sometimes what's going on with her inside.
Yeah. Yeah. What's been the hardest part of this journey for you, babe?
Um, just seeing it's like, seeing somebody you care about go through that is not easy. Seeing the effect it has on our son is not easy. Like, the other day when he was helping out with your mom in the Hoyer lift and seeing
Yeah.
her, like, I mean, he's seen her like this for a while, but I think just that day, it got to him. He got really, he was emotional, and I told him, "Listen, it's hard to see somebody you love in that state. There's nothing wrong with you being sad for them." Um, but I said, "But know that mom is loved and is being taken care of, uh, and she knows that you love her, and
Yeah.
you are a good grandson. He's a great grandson to her, and I want him
Uh-huh.
to know that."
Yeah. That was a tough night when that
Yeah.
happened. I was very surprised, about his reaction, but I think we handled it the best way we could. Um,
I mean, listen, your mom is a 180 from the woman she used to be now, like,
Absolutely, yeah.
and sometimes I forget that until I see a picture of her around the house. I'm like, "Oh my god, yes." Because you see her the way she is now for so long, you forget, like, well, I do. I mean, she's your mom, you remember her from ever. But sometimes I forget, like, "Oh my god, yes." Now I'll see, like, old videos of Vi before she got sick and how she was and how sassy she was with her hand on her hip and, pointing at you and, like, "Oh my god, yes." And one
Yeah,
thing I really miss about having a conversation with her is her cooking tips. I should always come to her
yeah,
all the time for cooking tips. "What do I do with this? How do I make this?" And she was always happy to help.
yeah, and she showed you a lot of, like, our recipes, and
I
you've taken
know.
those on, and continuing those on is just so important for the family, so, We appreciate that, of course.
Yeah.
Um, I wanna talk about feeling seen and recognized and what that's been like for you within our family.
I mean, listen, your family has been really great to me in this journey in terms of helping with your mom. Your brothers have reached out to me and thanked me a lot for helping out with your mom. At the beginning, I was a little resentful because I felt like I was doing the lion's share of, and for lack of a better term, the man's share of the work in terms of being the male figure in your mom's care when she has two adult grown sons. But then I started to realize that doesn't matter. I need to be here for her no matter who shows up or who doesn't show up. So my part in it, as long as I'm showing up and taking care of her, everything else will come together. So not to worry about it anymore. But I used to be really resentful for a while. But then they
Mm,
came and talked to me and we had
mhm.
discussions and we're fine now. So I have no issues with it whatsoever.
Yeah.
Um Resentment, I don't know if I had resentment so much. Maybe in the beginning because my life has changed. I'm not I don't go out at all anymore. My friends kinda stopped calling because they just know that 9 times out of 10, I couldn't go out anyway, so, like, I don't get calls anymore really to go out. Once in a while, I do,
Yeah, yeah.
and, I mean, that part of my life, I miss, socializing a lot with my friends, and I've kind of become like a homebody, so to speak, but
Yeah, I think that's
it
the
is what it is.
toughest. I think that's the toughest too, is just we're 2 very social people, and to not have the ability to socialize as much as we want to, I think has been a huge change and something to get used to.
Yeah,
Um,
like, today is beautiful it's my beautiful day out, and we're home because somebody needs to be here, and, Jack is home, and we can't
yeah,
just go out as a family to do something because somebody always needs to be here.
yeah, and to
So,
plan it takes time, you have to plan ahead, you have to
yeah,
make sure someone's here. I mean, it is such a task to try and do anything fun outside the
um,
house.
I mean, it's gotten to the
Um,
point where I don't even exercise that muscle to think about doing fun things anymore, and I hate that it's come to that. I hate that I don't even think about, like, going out or think about, "Oh, let's go to dinner one night," or "Let's do something." Because it's such a to-do try to get somebody to come over and do it, and to you can't be spontaneous.
yes,
Spontaneity in our life is out the window. That just can't happen,
I
and
know.
we used to be very spontaneous couple. We used to like, "Oh, let's go to dinner tonight. Let's call somebody. Let's go have a drink at so and so. Let's go to the bar real fast." Like,
Let's go on
none.
vacation, let's go on a
Yeah.
little weekend trip.
Yep.
That's
Done.
done.
Done. Done so.
Done so.
I mean,
Oh my gosh.
We used to go to Connecticut a lot and visit our friends. When last time we've been to Connecticut to
Yes.
visit them? It's been
I
a minute.
know.
It's
I
been a
I
minute.
I think that's one of the things I miss most is just the ability to just get up and go, and I think a lot of people don't understand, like, how tough that is.
But I also think maybe they do, which is why a lot of people don't reach out to us anymore because they know we have this situation. And I kinda dig it where, like, if I had a friend in a situation, I wouldn't want to invite them out because maybe it will make them feel bad, like, "Oh, I can't go out, but you're inviting me, and you're doing something fun, and I'm stuck in this house." Like, I don't wanna be the callous of them feeling bad because 'cause they're in a situation where they can't go out. So
I get
maybe
it, but, like, let me make that decision,
I mean, true,
you
but,
know?
yeah, yeah, and listen,
I would always ask, but that's just me.
but I'm
That's
also
just me.
putting words in people's mouth. This is what I'm assuming, what happens when you
Yeah.
assume, right? Like, but I don't know. Maybe they don't like me. Maybe like, "Clarence is a jerk. I'm not going out with him
You're a
anymore.
jerk.
You're a jerk." I'm like, "Okay, I just want a martini."
Oh my gosh. Well,
Well, that's one good thing. I'm a good, like, martini drinker at home now. It's great. I can make a martini better than anybody on this planet.
that is very true. That is very true. You know, just our conversation kinda leads into my next question is, what do you think helps us stay connected as a couple during this whole journey?
Well, we have a great relationship to begin with, 1, and 2, we are sharing this responsibility together, and we're on this journey together. And 3, we're in this together. So that's what keeps us sane. That's what keeps us laughing because we know each other so well. We know what irritates us. We know what makes us happy. We know how to support one another. And after 21 years, if we don't know that by now, we shouldn't be together in the first place.
Facts.
You
Yeah.
know? So us on this journey is nothing new. We've been on a lot of journeys together. We've moved across country together. We lived in how many places together? We've done a lot in our 21 years as a couple, as parents,
Hmm.
so I got your back, girl. Don't worry about that.
I know. Same. What do you think people don't talk about enough when it comes to caring for someone else's parents?
That's a good question. Uh, what it can be a couple of things, and I guess you look at it from both perspectives. As a person with the parent, maybe you would look at it as what do I want my partner? How much do I want my partner to be involved with this caregiving? Some people feel like I want you hands off. Like I remember when my dad passed and it was just me and my mom, you were always like, "Can I help? Can I do something?" I was always like, "No. Thank you for
Right.
offering,
Yeah.
but no," because I felt this responsibility, like, "This is my mother, this is my responsibility. You shouldn't have to be burdened with this. This is my thing. Thank you for offering, I appreciate it, but this is my mom. I got this." So I will always tell you, "No, I'm good. Thank you for offering. I got it." So I didn't wanna put that burden on you. Now, from the other end, from the person who is helping the person's parent, how much do I help? Where do I overstep my bounds? Does the parent how what relationship do you have with that parent as well? What if you don't have a good relationship with your partner's parent? Do you want to help?
Yeah.
Who knows? You may not like
Right.
this person. Like,
Yeah.
what do I do? And how do you cross that line where I don't like this person, but I'm gonna help because I love my partner, or I love this person, I wanna help more, but I wanna overstep my bounds because it could be other relatives who wanna help. Like, what if your brothers were like, "This is my mother, I don't want this guy touching my mom. It's our responsibility, but I wanna help." What do you do? It's you have to ask questions.
Yeah.
Ask
Yeah.
questions, be
Gotta
open,
communicate. Yeah.
communicate, and don't be afraid don't be afraid to hear the answers to the questions you ask.
Mm.
Some people when people ask you questions and want to hear an answer. Don't
Mhm.
approach it that way.
Yeah.
Ask that questions and be prepared for any answers going to come. I will
Yeah.
say even if you ask that question, be prepared for a bad answer
Yeah.
because because I mean, in the end of the day, the good answer will make you feel a lot better. And if a bad answer comes, you're already prepared for it. If you say,
Sure.
"Listen, I want to help, but what do I do?" I don't want you to help, and this is why.
Yeah.
Okay, but don't go into it expecting something because when you don't get it, it leads to a whole lot of different issues, which is not about the situation you're about to enter. And that makes it a whole lot worse.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, babe, I'm sitting here listening to you. I'm realizing something I probably haven't said enough, but caregiving didn't just change my life, it really changed yours too.
It did.
And your time, your path, your plans, the way you show up every single day. I mean, uh, I've been focused on what I've had to carry for so many years, and I don't always acknowledge that wider breadth of what you've taken on alongside me. So I just thank you. Getting
Well, I
emotional
thank
about it,
you.
but
Well,
thank
I
you.
love you very much. And
I
listen,
love you too.
you carry such a big load for this family that if I didn't help, I don't know what kind of person I would be. You do so much for us every day that getting up that bed and doing what I have to do isn't hard. It's necessary and it's required. And I love doing it because I know I'm helping you on the back end. And that's
Uh,
what
babe.
I live for to help you and make sure you get to do what you need to do because you hold us all on your shoulders every day. And we
Uh,
thank you. And
thanks, babe.
you're welcome.
All right, I got my 3 signature questions for you. You ready?
Let's do it.
All right. Question one. When you're running on empty, who actually cares about you?
Well, there's this chick down the street. Like, no, I'm just kidding. Miss Parker next door, she's really nice to me. Um, well, of course, you always pick me up. Jack is always just a
Yeah.
constant joy in my life. He makes me laugh all the time. He is one where he likes to bust my balls all the time, and I freaking love it because it's not a disrespectful way. It's just like, come on, dad. Like, it makes me happy that I have you both in my life. That brings joy to me. It gives me perspective, it gives me purpose, and, it makes life in this house worth living. Sometimes I look at you 2 talking to each other, and, like, I just stare and smile, like, sometimes I can't believe I have a family, that me, Clarence Steele Jr. has a family. Like, I never thought about that. I thought about that as a kid, but I never thought it happened to me. I thought I'd just be like, just a raging bachelor until I was, like, 75. But then I see you and Jack sit in the kitchen, chit chat. Like, I have a son and a wife. Like, this is wild. And this is awesome. I swear to God, I think I swear at least once a month, I'm like, this is wild. This is happening all the time. All the time. Especially when you guys are yucking it up or you guys like get together and like, get on me. I'm like,
Uh-huh.
please get on me more. This is great.
Yeah.
So you
Yeah, we
guys
definitely hit the
are,
jackpot with that one.
yeah, you guys are definitely the best spots in my life right now, for
Oh,
sure.
thanks, babe. All right, question two. What's one small thing that makes your caregiving day lighter? I feel like I know what you're gonna say, but tell me. What what
I
what
don't
makes your caregiving day lighter?
Lighter? I don't know. That's a good question. I don't know. What were you gonna say?
I was gonna
I because I
say a
can't I can't think.
cocktail at the end of the day.
Oh, well, that's a given. Like, oh, what do you mean, like, come on now. I don't know. I don't know if one thing makes it lighter. I think what makes it better when I make the people around me happy. So if
Mhm.
Violet has a good meal and she finished her food, she was very happy. That makes me happy. Or if I cook a good dinner for the family, you guys go out for seconds. That makes me happy. Like,
Mhm.
making the people around me happy brings me joy. That does it for me.
Okay. I love that answer. All right. Last question. What would you say
Mhm.
to another in-law caregiver listening right now?
Support the ones you love and think about why you're doing it. That's the big part. The why behind the purpose fuels that purpose. Because if you're doing it and you're doing it because, "Oh, I have to," then the results of that purpose shows. If you're doing it with a full heart, with a goal in mind to help support your partner, your loved one, that comes through and people see it and it's
Mhm.
very organic. It's
Yeah.
not it's not showy. It's not a show sense of affection.
Mhm.
It's a natural way to show affection and it comes through. So if you're doing it for a good purpose and your heart's in the right place, it makes it worthwhile.
Yeah.
It really does. Because you're a part of a family that may not be DNA related, but you're sharing an experience of love
Mhm.
that can
Mhm.
reach far beyond just that caregiver. It
Yeah.
shows, I mean, like, feel like Jack sees the way I take care of his grandmother, and I hope these lessons spill onto him as he's an adult male, and he may be in a situation where, like, my dad took care of my grandmother, so if he's married, maybe one day I take care of my mother-in-law because I saw the example that he did.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's just building examples for other people as well to show the right way to do things.
Yeah. I love that, honey. Well, I think in today's conversation, we learned that there's a version of caregiving that doesn't get talked about enough. And it's not always the person managing the medications or leading the appointments. Sometimes it's the person standing beside them, and it's the one holding the household together, the one absorbing the stress, the one making space for it all to happen. And partners don't always get called caregivers, but they are, and their experience and their exhaustion and their love, it deserves to be seen and recognized. And honey, I just want to thank you, not just for this conversation, but for the way you've shown up for every chapter of this journey, for me, for my family, for all of it. And you are my true ride or die in this world. And I love you so much.
I love
Thank you, honey.
Thanks for having me, and thanks for being part of my life.
Yeah.
It's been a wild 21-year ride, and can't wait for another 20 more years to see what happens next.
Yeah. Well, anyone listening who's in the same role as Clarence, the partner, the support system, the one holding things together quietly, you are part of the story, clearly, and you matter in it. So thank you, babe, for your honesty and generosity and sharing your story. And thank you, everyone. Take care.
Take care, everyone. Thank you for having me.
You can listen and subscribe to Who Cares About Me wherever you get your podcasts. If you'd like to follow, connect with us, check out resources, or share your story, head to Who Cares About Me on Instagram, LinkedIn, and Facebook, subscribe on Substack and YouTube, and like, or visit whocaresaboutmepodcast.com. Who Cares About Me is hosted and produced by me, Jackee de Lagarde. Clarence Steele is our editor and producer, and also created our theme music, and graphics created by Jonathan de Lagarde of Hollis Arts, LLC.